All right, my friend. So management sent you for this training. I'm guessing there's a reason why they sent you for this training. I call this Project Management 411. And I'm guessing that management has a new initiative coming from on high. Haven't heard anything. You didn't hear this from me, but I'm guessing that's why they called you here. So we're going to go through basics really quick of project management. We're going to talk about various parts of projects, initiating all the way to closing. And if you have any questions, just let me know as we go along. That's my experience. And I'm sure you know all about my background because you were given that brochure. 90% of global senior executives rank project management methods as either critical or somewhat important to their ability to deliver successful projects and remain competitive. This is actually available at that link, so project management is here to stay. You take a look at organizations that use a methodology, you can see that 38% of those that use a method, they meet budget, but only 31% of those that don't use a methodology meet budget. If you take a look at those that expected benefits were met, you've got 60% of those that use the method meeting expected benefits, 51% of those that don't use a method did not met expected benefits. There's a 10% differential is what I'm saying. So I don't know, how excited are you about this whole project management training? I know management sent you, but do you really want to be here? So let me ask Allison, how do you feel about being here?
No, I mean, I'm on board. I'm excited. So yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. What about you, Olivia? How do you feel?
I feel good, being here, just a little bit standoffish on why we need a methodology. What exactly is this going to bring to the table is why.
I understand your concerns. Terry, do you have any concerns about the training that management has sent you to?
It is what it is. I'll just figure it out as it goes along.
Okay. Frederick, what about you? Any concerns?
Nope, none.
Okay. All right. So let's have some core definitions. What exactly is a project? Can anyone kind of guess based on your previous training?
I haven't a guess. Our project is just basically an estimate of how much you think something's going to qualify once you give it to the mass plethoras or platforms of communication.
Very colorful definition indeed. Who else would like to take a shot as to what a project is?
Come on, get into it. Let's go.
Come on, team, let's go. Let's do it. What is a project?
Project, I mean, it's a thing you do, right? It's just a task, one big task made up of a little bunch of smaller tasks. That's how I see a project as.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think it's just a problematic task, created by I do not know who, just to achieve something like a service or a result.
Good. Okay. So Allison, you've been in corporate for quite a while. So do you have an opinion about what a project is?
Yeah, so I think it's common ground for everybody. You set a goal and you said, how you're going to achieve that goal, and the people that are going to be involved with the goal and just like the little goals within it and how you're going to like reach it. So I think that's a project. Yeah.
Great breakdown. Great breakdown. So some examples of projects, it might amaze you, but project management has been around for like thousands of years. Pyramids of Giza, the Olympic Games is another example. The thing about projects is they have a beginning and an end, right? The Great Wall of China, the Taj Mahal, the Panama Canal, polio vaccine, those are all examples. Fauci's vaccine. Let's not go there because that's very controversial.
That's actually interesting because I've been wanting to understand how a children's book works. And I know we're supposed to be in a business meeting, I've written like 6 of them so far. No idea what to do with them.
Well, I
I
mean,
don't think I want to see that. Probably scary to look at, but never mind.
are you calling her a
mean,
bad
like,
author?
how, like, you know, that's a project. We're on step 1. How does that?
Yeah,
Gosh.
you're absolutely correct. So let me frame your understanding of project management. This is going to help you immensely. So there are many ways to do a project, right? A project can either be something simple, like from beginning to end, you know, point A, and you know where you're going. It's straightforward. But for you, your project, a children's book project, for you in particular, it's not a straight line. Like I've written over 12 books. So for me, I know exactly what the process is. For you, it's a little bit different. So you wouldn't use a predictive approach. You would use something more like an adaptive approach where you start off, but then you find yourself going a little bit off. You didn't know that it was going to entail all of this. So it has some kind of experimentation. And that's how project management is. Some projects are going to be a straight line and others are going to be up and down, zigzagging, because you've never been there before. You've never been there, done that. And it's kind of encapsulated in this image that we call the Stacy model. So there's some projects that are simple for those who have done them before, but there are projects that are complex, that have a lot of uncertainty, like the requirements uncertainty, like you talked about the books. How do you write a book when you've never done it before? How do you get it published? How do you get it circulated, right? So you might find yourself in a little bit of a complex zone, and therefore your project isn't going to be like this. It's going to be twists and turns, and that's normal. We call this more like an agile approach. And agile just means you are moving up and down. Here's an example of another project, you know, that could be agile. Let's say you're cooking for very demanding family members. And the last time you had the family members round, they didn't like your cooking, or they didn't like whatever you cooked. So now you're going to be asking them every step of the way, how does this taste? Have a sample. How does this taste? Have a sample. And you're kind of incrementally cooking to make sure that when you're done, it is going to be what they want. We just call it agile. So same way, like writing a book. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's actually very clear.
Cool. So let me give you another idea about another type of project that you could use using a predictive approach. So like this that I showed you, that's predictive. We have what we call groups of processes. They're very straightforward. There's 5 groups of processes. The first one is initiating processes, and this is used to kick it off. So when you decided, okay, this is the project I'm going to work on. I'm going to work on a book. It's kind of like authorized in your head. In the corporate world, like, you know, in business where Allison works, we would have a business case being issued, written, and the business case will then be transformed into a charter. So we write a charter that authorizes the project, and then we have a plan. We create a plan for the project. So you set a big goal with little goals. Terry set a big task with little tasks.
Yeah.
That will be the planning, right? And I'm sure you must have done some of that to be able to get your work done in the past, right, Terry?
Yeah, I mean, had a bunch of stuff like that. You know, I mean, I was just looking at all the different samples, and you know, interestingly, like the Stacy model, and it reminded me of my baby mama Stacy. You know, I miss her. She's good, you know, but yeah, I've worked on different stuff like that. You know, just to get the job done. So you know, it's cool.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So yeah, when you've planned out using the model like the Stacy model, and you understand, okay, I'm in predictive zone, you plan, then you execute, but you're also monitoring and controlling, right? You're checking to make sure, you know. I saw Frederick was off for a little bit. Frederick, is what we're saying making sense? You understand the context of it?
Yes. I was listening.
Cool. All right. So monitoring and controlling, can anyone kind of define that and the importance in project management? Do you have like some ideas of what this could mean?
I have an idea
Go
of
for it.
what it means. If it's monitoring and controlling, I know that absolutely goes with charts. So when you have someone that is monitoring and controlling like what your initial planning and executive is. They're monitoring and controlling the charts. Those are the people that are doing those are basically the people that are running your surveys. They're the people that are bringing in what are those people? You ever seen those commercials where like the kids at like Bluebell ice cream and they're like there's like 10 of them and they're really bad and they're like throwing stuff? That's real. That's actually a monitoring and controlling like technique, is to bring people in for free samples just to see, what's making people sick, what are people not liking, and there's a person that's the head of that. So
That's
I'm
true.
assuming that's there.
Is exactly, that's part of it. So if you're working on a project where research needed to be done and you're trying to get ideas of, cause and effect of a sales initiative, or maybe the entire project is even that. We call it in Scrum, we call it the minimum viable product. And you might be trying to source opinions from the public by putting this stuff out. So that's a great example.
My only issue with monitoring and controlling isn't that it's not productive. It doesn't really go with 2022. Like, let me see if I can explain it the best way I can. When you have multiple same ideas, it's more important in the initiating stage to think past monitoring and controlling, because a lot of people place like all the weight on the person that's running the survey. They're like, okay, well, this is telling me that we're doing great. This is telling me that people are eating off our plate. But honestly, with the monitoring and controlling, that's like it used to be like the second step. Now it's like the sixth, because there are so many different, initiatives that you have to go through, especially with everybody pushing to have LLCs. I'm so sorry. I just took over. I apologize.
No, you're fine. It's a forum for us to share ideas. Monitoring and controlling is, it actually is still, like you were saying, the second step. You're not wrong in saying that, because the way it works, the moment you initiate a project, you immediately begin monitoring and controlling stuff. Yes, Terry?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the same thing. Like, monitor controlling, that's pretty much like it's from the whole process. It actually is from initiating, planning, executing, you're monitoring everything. I mean, from the jump, when you said monitor controlling, I thought we were talking about my wife, but yeah, it's just the project management. So yeah, from start to finish, you got to look at everything and just make sure, even right from the get-go, how's it going? So I always want to have somebody on every single step, right from start to finish, so yeah, very important.
Right. Good deal. Well, let's get done here. We got one more step. And that step is a closing step. So think about it. When you get done with a project, what happens? You hand off to management, you hand off to business, you hand off to operations. And that's where Allison's department comes in, because they're operations, and we hand off to operations. And whatever we hand it off to them, they just make it work. They make it work. So I know it's the first of many meetings, but I'm hoping that this whole journey, this journey map of sorts that I'm showing you, makes sense, right? So we have initiating the project, planning the project, executing the project, monitoring and controlling the project. And we do all sorts of things while we are monitoring and controlling and planning. In fact, we break this down into little areas, but this is beyond discussion for today. We'll probably tie it up. Any final questions before we go? Okay.
Thanks. So you worked on the pyramids of Giza?
No, not me, but I'm using it as an example. I would be 1,000. I'd be 2,000 years old. No, 2,000 and then.
I was about to say.
That's funny.
Gandalf the Grey.
That's funny. All right, so we're meeting again in the next few days. Just don't let management know that I gave you insights into what's coming down the pike. Okay, so we're working together.